Okay. Yeah. So I'm now recording by the Zoom now. Normally I use the other application, but that's okay. All right. No worries. Yeah. So okay, go back to this one. There are different types of the requirement. We talk about the business requirement, user requirement, and in terms of the system requirement, there are four types of the requirement. Okay, the first one is a functional requirement. It tells you what the product does. The product should do this. The product should do that. The product should be able to allow the user to log in. The product should allow the user to search for the items in the product catalog, that kind of thing. Okay, that's a functional requirement. In terms of the non-functional requirement, it tells you how the product works. Normally, we focus on the quality of the software system. Okay, so for example, non-functional requirement, the product should, the login feature of the app should be secure, should allow the multi-factor authentication. That's the so non-functional requirement. Normally, we focus on the security, the user friendly, the usability, the performance of the system, that kind of thing. Okay, that's a non-functional requirement. But the non-functional requirement can be converted into the functional requirement as well. For example, it is interrelated. Non-functional requirement, for example, the app should be secure. Okay, it should be secure. It should have some data protection, privacy, or whatsoever. Okay, it's very vague. It doesn't tell you what the product does. Okay, but once we analyze the non-functional requirement within the team, and then we can come up with the functional requirement that are related to that non-functional requirement as well. For example, the product, the app should allow multi-factor authentication so the user can log in securely, that kind of thing. Okay, so that means the functional requirement, non-functional requirement, they are interrelated. It depends on how do you frame the requirement, how do you define it, whether it is about how the product does or what the product does. Sorry, what the product does or how the product works. Okay, that's a difference between the functional and the non-functional requirement. But at the same time, there could be a constraint of the system as well. For example, constraint here, it means that things that the system should prohibit the user to do. For example, the constraint is that the user shall not be able to submit the payment until they have choose the product or whatever. Okay, the user cannot access this page if they haven't successfully logged in. Okay, that's a constraint. The admin cannot access the admin dashboard without the login, successful login, that kind of thing. Okay, that's an implementation of the technical requirement as well. The app should run on the iOS platform only. The app should run on the Android OS only. Okay, that kind of thing. And the app should be implemented with the this kind of particular language, Ruby on Rails or Django Python or that kind of thing, or Node.js, React, JavaScript only. Okay, that's a technical implementation requirement. Okay. Functional requirement, yeah, as I mentioned before, it basically describes the functionality of the system, and it also describes how the system should react to the particular input and how the system should behave in particular situation. Basically, you should know what is the input to the system and the output to the system, right? The functional requirement, let's say think about the login. The input should be the username and the password. And what is the output? Probably it should pop up or show the pop-up message that, okay, your login credential, you can successfully log into the system or that kind of thing, right? Okay, and an example here, a user shall be able to search properties for all suburb. Think about the domain application, the real estate app, or the what is that, Homely, that kind of thing. Yeah, that's a property searching, yeah, application. At the end of each month, the system shall generate a list of properties sold or rented. That's the functional requirement for like property manager, that kind of thing. Okay. Each property agent shall be uniquely identified by his or her 8-digit employee number, right? So that's the functional requirement for the property manager as well. Yeah. However, at the same time, the requirements can be imprecise as well, and there are different definitions of the imprecise requirements, right? For example, they are ambiguous, they are incomplete, they are inconsistent, and this kind of problems normally arise when functional requirements are not precisely stated. Okay, think about. Let's take a look at this example. Consider a user shall be able to search a property based on location, right? This requirement is quite unclear because of what? Because the location can mean many things. Is it based on the suburb? Is it based on the country? Is it based on the state, right? What do you mean by the location, or just the road, or street? So there are many interpretations when it is unclear like this. The developers, it is very hard for developers to implement this feature, right? So that's unclear. So you should try to make it complete and make it consistent and clear as much as possible. Okay. And another point that I want to mention, right, when the requirement is unclear is I would call negative requirement. Negate. Okay, negate. For example, the system should not do this. The system should not do that. But it's really unclear what the system should do. We just only say the system should not do. For example, the app should not be able to run on the desktop. Okay, so what exactly is the requirement? Does it mean that it should be run on the tablet or the phone or which device, right? It just say not desktop. So it's really unclear. So we should try to avoid this kind of negative requirements or the imprecise requirements as much as possible. Okay. Yeah. Next is the non-functional requirement. The non-functional requirement is the criteria that can be used to judge the operation of the system. Basically, it tells you how the system works, how the product works. We often talk about the numbers of customers allowed, password requirement, response time. The app should be responsive. That's a non-functional requirement with the response times of within 1 second, that kind of thing. Storage requirement, that's a technical requirement. The app should not take the storage more than 100 megabyte when after the installation, that kind of thing. IO device compatibility, the app should be able to connect with the iPhone only or whatsoever. Should be installed in the iPhone and the Android application, Android OS, okay, mobile phone, only that kind of thing. Yep, makes sense. Okay, non-functional requirement is really, really important because when we let's think about the calculator application, right? We develop a calculator application. The functionality is correct. 1 + 1 = 2, 2 + 2 = 4. But if the app is not the UI is not user friendly, right? Then that's the non-functional requirement part. Then who is going to use the calculator application, right? So that means the non-functional requirement it's more about the human perspective, the end user perspective, not the app perspective. So when we say non-functional requirement, when we say that the app should be user friendly, that's the non-functional requirement. All right. And if they are not met, the system may be useless. Yeah. And this is an example, a few more examples of the non-functional requirement. The property management system shall be available to all property agents during normal working hours. For example, in this case, the property system, management system should be available during Monday to Friday and 8:30 to 5:30, right, p.m. So that's the non-functional requirement. Downtime within the normal working hours should not exceed 5 seconds in any one day. That's an example of the concrete non-functional requirement. Credit card, customer must authenticate themselves using their driver license. Okay, that's about the user login, the user authentication, right? And then we're gonna use the driver license as part of the user authentication. After receiving an inspection request, the system must acknowledge with a response email within 10 seconds. That's the how the product works. Okay, the response email should be arrived within 10 seconds. That's the non-functional requirement. Okay. Process requirements, or for example, mandating a particular IDE, programming language, or development method, that kind of thing. That's a non-functional requirement as well. In some cases, clients want you to recommend if they are not sure. Yeah, as well. Yeah, it really depends. Yeah, non-functional requirement. Okay, now we're gonna talk about the process, right? But before we move to the process, maybe let me see if we should do some quiz or not. Okay, 1 second. Yeah. Yeah, maybe let's go through a few more slides and then we can do the quiz. Okay, yep, that's right. We will finish this part first. Okay. Yeah, so we already talked about what exactly is the requirement. And then next step, we're going to talk about the process, right? How to elicit the requirement. What is the requirement engineering process as well? What are the steps that we need to do to create the most effective requirements so the development team can start doing the development for the product. And the process, right? Basically, there are 4 main steps here. Okay, it is an iterative activity. It's not like a one go. Okay, normally we start from the elicitation, requirement elicitation. Then once we elicit the requirement, we get something that is a little bit informal. It is brief. Then we need to analyze it, whether it is a functional, non-functional requirement. Is that clear or not? We need to analyze, and then we validate the requirement, whether it is correct or not as well, whether it is aligned with what the customer want or not. And then the next step is the requirement management. Okay, that's the last step. How can we manage the requirements so to ensure that we can deliver all of the features or deliver all of the requirements to the clients within the time budget. Okay, and then we also need to develop some how can we ensure that the requirement is met as well. You know, yeah. What is acceptance test criteria, that kind of thing. We will talk about that later. All right. The first step, the first and foremost, is the requirement elicitation and the analysis, right? Basically, this step here, the goal here, we want to discover what they really need, what they really want. And there are different methods and techniques that we can elicit the requirement. For example, doing the interview or running the survey, right? Think about, let's say, if I want to develop a social network application, think about the Facebook or Meta, right? Probably I would just do an interview. I would just go to the Melbourne CBD. Hey, look, do you know, have you used Facebook before? Yes. What is the limitation? Do you like or you don't like? What do you expect to see? Let's say if there will be a new Meta version, that kind of thing. I want this, I want that, that kind of thing, right? So that's how do you interview the other people in order to understand what the problem is in the existing application, what are the gaps, what are the negative point, so we can use that problem or that challenge as an opportunity for us to develop the new application. Okay, make sense, everyone? Yeah. Refining, once we elicit the requirement, we need to refine and extend the initial requirement as well. So that's that part is called requirement analysis, right? So we analyze whether it is clear or not. Yeah, and then we can expand or elaborate more as well. Yeah. So this during the requirement elicitation, it may involve multiple stakeholders here. It could be technical staff. It could be client perspective, customer perspective, that kind of thing. It really depends. We should involve the stakeholder as much as possible. All right. And by the way, if you have any question, please type in the Zoom chat as well. Okay. Yeah. So once during the requirement elicitation, right, the key point here is to elicit to who? who should we elicit with, right? So that part is called stakeholder identification. We need to determine who are the clients for this particular application or this particular product, right? So the first step here, we need to think about systematically think about who are the individuals, who are the groups, who are the organizations that may use this application. And the stakeholders here can include like customer, employees, suppliers, regulatory bodies, shareholder, competitors, or the general public. It really depends what kind of application that we are talking about, right? And once we identify the stakeholder, we need to categorize into the primary stakeholders or the secondary stakeholders or the external stakeholders, okay? Primary stakeholders means the people or a group of people who are directly affected by the project, right? Who are the main users of the application of the product. Secondary stakeholders who are indirectly affected by the product, right, or by the project. And the external stakeholders are those who are outside of the organization, okay? Let me give you an example, okay? This is the, let's read this one together as a case study. We talk about the stakeholder identification for the LMS system, learning management system, like think about Moodle, okay? The background here is that Monash Uni is a large prestigious university that is planning to implement a new Moodle LMS, which is the version that you are using at the moment, Moodle 4.1, in order to enhance the teaching and the learning experience for students and faculty. The university decision to adopt the LMS is driven by the need for a more robust and integrated platform that can support online courses. Blended learning, admin functions, stakeholder identification, and management are crucial to ensure that the successful implementations of the LMS. Okay, the first step, we're gonna identify the stakeholder, right? In the Moodle version, can you type in the Zoom chat who should be the stakeholders that we need to interview with? What do you think? I'm going to open the floor to everyone. Who are the main users of the LMS? Yeah, students, faculty members, teachers, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Thank you. So yeah, I would say that the main users of the LMS, right? So the primary users should be student and faculty members or the teachers, okay? But who else? What if you think about the secondary stakeholders? Who would be the secondary stakeholders? Who else would access the LMS? Yeah, Monash Connect. Probably they will do the, what is that? The SpecCon, update the, what is that? Assessment extension, that kind of thing. Yeah, admin team. Yes, IT team as well. Thank you. They need to maintain the system, right? To ensure that the system is alive, is online for 24/7. That kind of thing, right? Okay, let's take a look at the answer. Yeah, we have faculty members who are the primary stakeholder, student, of course, the primary stakeholder as well. Yeah, we have the IT department, admin staff, LMS vendors as well. That could be the external stakeholder as well, because we use the Moodle system and the LMS vendors, the Moodle development team. They are the people who develop the product, right? Yeah. So if let's say if the uni needs a special feature, then we need to contact them. Hey, can you develop this one for us? That kind of thing. Yeah, that's the external stakeholders. Okay, makes sense. Thank you. Yeah, once we know who are the stakeholder of the system, right, then we need to determine what do they want, what do they need. Yeah, and that's a skill now. You need the communication skill, nothing more than that, right? But we'll talk about what are the techniques to elicit the requirement in the next few slides as well. Okay, but the first step, there are two things that you need to remember. The first thing is that you won't get a clear requirement from the first meeting. Of course, it can be that. Okay, so you need to get the informal, get the brief, get the intention first. Why do they need this application? Why do they want? And then you need to try to delve down into the detail requirement, try to develop the spec of the application over time, right? But the most important step is that you need to understand their language, right? You need to speak in the same language. You need to know what are their technical terms, what does it mean from the app perspective, from the client perspective as well. Okay, make sense, everyone? Yeah. Yeah, and to do that, right? So you need to understand the domain. Domain mean the application domain. Let's say if you want to develop, let me think, what would be a good example? Some maybe solar, okay? Solar, the solar electricity, that kind of thing, solar panel. You want to develop an app to monitor the solar feed in, yeah, and to see like how much kilowatt that the solar panel can produce and how much is used, how much is consumed, and how much is feedback to the grid, that kind of thing. So you need to communicate, use the right technical terms within that domain, and then you need to understand the business model as well. For the solar company, what is their business model? How do they sell? What is the business model for the electricity company as well? What is a feed-in tariff? What is a peak rate? What is the off-peak rate? That kind of thing. You know, once we understand the domain, understand the business model, then you can verify the requirement as well, whether it is actually aligned with the business model or not, right? Let's say you want to think about, you are with the AGL, you develop an application for the AGL, but the requirement shows something else. It's not aligned with the business model. It's not aligned with the cost, price structure, or whatever. Then the app will be very confusing, right? So some kind of training is required in this context as well. Okay, yeah, that kind of thing. Okay, let's do the Flux quiz together. Okay, yep. All right, everyone, just go to this link, flux.qa/mt8ng2. If everyone is there, please let me know. Yeah. Okay. The first question, I'm gonna start in 1, 2, 3. Yep. Okay. Everyone see my share screen? Is that right? Oh, you don't see? Okay, 1 second. Yep. What about this one? Oh, you don't see the questions in the Flux. Have you go to the link flux.qa/mt8ng2? You don't see the, okay, 1 second. Let me try again. Okay, all right. So right now we have 54 people have answer. Yeah. Thank you. Yep. So the flux quiz is not marked, but I highly encourage everyone to participate in the quiz. So you can how can I say, like, you can learn from mistake as well. If you get the right answer, congratulations. But if you got the all wrong answers, right, then I will clarify at the same time what went wrong, what is the misconception here. Yeah. Yep. So someone suggests to click the poll in the at the top as well. The second tab. Yep. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Yeah. Yep. So I will wait for a few more seconds. What is the purpose of the requirement engineering? To develop the software requirement, to manage software requirement, to analyze the software requirement, and all of the above. Okay. Very, very easy. All right. But it's going to be harder and harder. Okay, 104 students have answered, and how many people in the classroom here? 134. Yeah, maybe I will pause now and then, yep, let's see the response, show the poll results. Okay, so basically the requirement engineering, the right answer should be D dog, right? So all of the above. Requirement engineering focus on the elicit the requirement, develop the requirement, manage the requirement, analyze the requirement, and everything. That's the purpose of the requirement engineering. It include everything. Okay. Next question. Are you ready, everyone? 1, 2, 3. Click. Okay. Which of the following is not a requirement elicitation technique? And just keep in mind, we have the leaderboard as well, who answer fast and correct. Probably you will get, you'll be in the top rank. Okay. Which of the following is not a requirement elicitation technique? I'm gonna check. Okay. Yep. Yep. Which of the following is not a requirement elicitation? 82 people have answered. Yep. Interview, survey, prototyping, testing. Which one is not? All right. Which one is not? Okay. All good. All done. I'm gonna move on now. Yep. Pause. Yep. Show the poll results. Okay. Testing is not. Okay. Prototyping could be the elicitation technique, right? So basically you what is that, you design the prototype and use that one to elaborate more as well. So I would say that prototype is part of the elicitation technique. Definitely interviews and the survey, okay, they are one of the requirement elicitation technique, but the testing is not. Yeah. Okay, next. Yep. What is the difference between functional and the non-functional requirement? Mm-hmm. Okay. And if you are curious, who is in the top rank at the moment, I'm going to show you this one. Okay. Yeah, probably this way. All right. Okay, we have 75 people answer this question. Okay, 90. Yep, all good, all good, all good. Maybe I'll pause and then move to the and see the result. Okay. Yeah. So the correct answer, right, actually should be A. Functional requirement describe what the system should do, and the non-functional requirement describe how the system should do it. That's the correct answer. Okay. But let's take a look at the B, C, D, why they are incorrect. Okay. Functional requirement describe how the system should do it. Yeah. So not how. Functional is not how, but it should tell you what it should do. Okay. It's different. So B is the opposite of the A. So that's incorrect anyway. C, functional requirement describe what the system should do, while non-functional requirement describe why the system should do it. So it's not about why, it's about how the app should perform. But it's not about why the system should do it. Okay, it's not correct. Yeah. Functional requirement describe why the system should do it, while non-functional requirement describe what the system should do it. Yeah, so it's not about the why question. Yeah, okay, makes sense. A, functional requirement talk about, describe what the system should do, and the non-functional requirement describe how the system should do it, how the system should perform, how the app should respond to the user, how the app should be user-friendly, how the quality of the app should be, how the app should be secure, that kind of thing. Okay. Next. Yep. Okay. Which okay, which of the following is not a characteristic of a good requirement? Okay. Which of the following is not a characteristics of a good requirement? Not, okay. Not a characteristic of a good requirement. Okay. Okay, 92 people have answered. I can see the change in the leaderboard as well. Congratulations. The first one, Gangani, okay, if I spell it correctly. Yep, maybe that's all. Yep, 100 now. Yeah, let's see the poll results. Yes, all right. The correct answer should be where. That's not the good characteristics of the requirement, right? Not a good one. Yeah. So unambiguous, that's a good one. It should be unambiguous. Okay. It should be not ambiguous. It should be testable. That's a requirement. It should be testable. It should be complete. That's correct. Okay. Let me see if I should go to the next question or not. Oh, okay. Yep, that's right. Yep. I think we still need to do it. It is still relevant. Yep. What is the purpose of the stakeholder identification? Yeah. What is the purpose of the stakeholder identification? To identify all of the stakeholder involved in the project, to prioritize stakeholder based on their influence and interest, to understand the needs and expectations of stakeholders, or all of the above. Yep, 90 people have answered, maybe one more minute. All right. Mm-hmm. 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 Ding, ding, ding. Yep, 97. 98, 9900. Okay, let's pause now. And then let's see the results. Okay. Yeah, the right answer should be all of the above. Okay. There are a few students who got mistake on this. Okay. It's not just only to identify the stakeholders, but it actually everything stakeholder identification. It includes the goal is to identify who are the stakeholders, classify into the primary, secondary, and the external, and then identify the need and the expectation from the stakeholder as well. Okay. Yep. What is this? Aha. You are working. Okay. Oh, I should start. Okay. 3, 2, 1, start. Yeah. Hi. You are working on a software project for a small startup. The project involves developing a mobile app for managing customer orders. Who among the following is likely to be a primary stakeholder in this project? Okay, they talk about a mobile app for managing customer orders. Who is the primary stakeholder for this project? Again, managing customer orders. Yep, this one is actually very tricky. Okay, 94 people have answered. Maybe I will pause very soon. This question is very tricky. 1, 2, 3. Okay, maybe all done. Let's see the poll results. That's very tricky. Okay. So you are working on a software project, right? For a small startup. The project involves developing a mobile app for what? For managing the customer orders. Okay. Managing the customer order. So probably the question that we need to ask is that do clearly not the right answer, the software developers working on the app, right? This is not the right answer. Do software developers need to manage the customer orders? Probably no. Okay. Do the customer who will use the app, the customer, okay, do they need to manage their customer orders or not? Probably no. Probably no as well. Is that right? Yeah. What about the local coffee shop where the startup is based? Do they need to manage the customer order or not? Probably yes or no. What do you think? Yes, yeah, okay. What about the CEO of the startup? Do they need to manage the customer orders or not? It really depends. Yeah, so I think it's the choice here is a bit not clear. I would say I need to fix this one. But if we do not consider about the choice here, basically who actually need to manage the customer order, probably the what's that, the people at the local coffee shop, right? The people who take the orders, that kind of thing, or the barista, they need to manage the customer orders, that kind of thing. Okay, so that's the people who need to use this feature, who are the primary stakeholder. Does it make sense here? The choice is a little bit unclear here. Yeah, but definitely and probably not the customer who will use the app. Okay, does it make sense to everyone? Any questions about this question? If it is all good, yeah, can you type in the Zoom chat as well? Yep. Okay. All right. Oh, good. Thank you. Yep. Maybe let's see the next question. Yep. Okay. This one worked. Yeah. You are working on a project to develop a new feature for an existing software product. Who among the following is likely to be a primary stakeholder for this project? Mhm. This one is quite obvious. Yeah. Mhm. Yep, and there is one question in the Q&A. Thank you so much. Can you explain the difference between the primary stakeholder and the secondary stakeholder again? So primary stakeholder, they are the group of people who are directly affected by the project or the application. But the secondary stakeholder, who are the people or a group of people that they are indirectly affected by the by the project or the application. Okay, and in this case, okay, I think this question is quite straightforward, not that difficult. I'm gonna pause it in 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's see the result. Clearly, the answer to this question should be C, the customer who use the existing product. That's the primary stakeholder for this project, right? You are working on a project to develop a new feature, okay, for an existing software product, right? There's a product already, we're gonna develop a new feature, but the stakeholder should be the customer who use the existing product. They need to tell us what are the new feature, right? Okay, and for here, clearly not the software tester. Software tester may be just an external stakeholder who has nothing to do with the project at all. The developers, we are just the team, the development team who develop the new feature. They are not the primary stakeholder. They are not the primary end users of the product. Okay, clearly no. CEO, I would categorize as either secondary or the external stakeholder. It really depends whether the product is funded by the company or not, and whether or how involved is the CEO to this product, right? Okay, it really depends. Make sense? For example, right? Think about you develop a Tesla car. Okay, Tesla is owned by Elon Musk, and then the primary end user, the primary stakeholders here should be us, right? Who are the drivers, the car drivers, and the secondary stakeholder could be Elon Musk as well. If Elon Musk is involved or heavily involved in the design of the of the Tesla car, that kind of thing. Okay, it really depends. Okay, next. Okay, yep. What is the requirement elicitation? Yep. Okay, and who is the first in the rank at the moment? We have Willie, Gangani, Christopher Collins, Klingy, Dongcheng, Edward, Aman, Tianzi, Faisal, Peng, Jian Hui, and more. Okay. Okay, we have 84, 85 people have answered this one. I'm gonna pause in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yes. Okay, let's see the results. The process of the requirement elicitation. Okay, thank you everyone. Everyone got it right. Is the process of gathering, analyzing, documenting requirements from the stakeholder. Yeah, nothing more than that. Okay. The process of defining the scope of a project, right? I would say this is more about the scope could be requirement analysis or management already. How do we define the scope? But I mean requirement analysis as well. Yeah. But elicitation is the process. How do you talk to the stakeholder? That kind of thing. Okay. All right. Next. Oh, this week I got lots of questions. Who are the stakeholders in the requirement elicitation? All right. Who are the stakeholders in requirement elicitation? Yep, okay, 89 people have answered, and then I'm going to move on to no, I'm gonna pause and see the results together in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause and see the results. Should be very easy. Should be DDoG. Yes, it should be DDoG. Okay. So it is everyone, stakeholders, everyone, all individuals or groups who have a vast interested in the project, right? It's not just only the project manager, of course, because if you elicit the requirement with the project manager, you won't get anything. They just manage the project. If you elicit the requirement with the developers, you won't get anything unless it is the internal project, internal products. Only the end users, but end users can be anyone, right? So here, when we talk about the requirement elicitation and the stakeholders, we talk about anyone who have a vested interest in the project. Think about the Moodle LMS. Only end users is not just only the student, it's not just only the faculty members, but it could include the education portfolio at the university level as well, the VCE portfolio, the education quality team, the whatsoever within the university, the Monash Connect, who manage the SpecCon extension, that kind of thing. You know, everyone. There are so many stakeholders that actually use the product or the application. All right. Okay. Yeah. Next. Okay. Start. Okay. Which of the following is a characteristic of functional requirement? Wow. All right. What is that? Which of the following is a character of functional requirements? They describe how the system should have. They are measurable and quantifiable. They are concerned with the performance of the system. They are related to the user interface. Functional requirement. Okay. Yes, we have 83, 85. Wow, wow, wow. Okay, all right. 90. Okay, we nearly reached 100. So I'm gonna pause in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Yep, let's see the result. Yep, so actually the uh yeah, so there are two choices here that that have got answer, right? Let's take a look at DDoG, okay? They are related to the user interface. Probably no, okay? Probably no. Yeah, it's not the right answer. User interface should be about should be the non-functional requirement, okay? They are concerned with the performance of the system. Okay, so this is not as well. This is not the correct answer. When we talk about the performance of the system, it is the non-functional requirement. Okay, but this question, right? They ask which of the following is a characteristics of the functional requirement. I would say that the functional requirement, the main purpose here, it describes how the system should behave. Okay, the system should behave, but the characteristics of the functional requirement, it should be measurable and quantifiable. Is that true? Oh, this one is very tricky. Which one? This one is very tricky. So for this one, I would say that the right answer should be A. Okay, it should tell you. So that's the functional requirement. It should describe how the system should behave. Okay, make sense, everyone? Yeah. Okay. Next, I'm gonna move to the next one. Yep. Start. Which of the following is a characteristics of the non-functional requirement? What is the non-functional requirement? That's what. Mm-hmm. Yep, non-functional requirement. Okay, I'm aware of the time. Then probably I will pause in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Okay. So the answers, yeah, should be D dot. Clearly, D dot. It's about non-functional requirement described. It's about the system performance and the usability, not about the algorithm and the logics, not about the functionality of the system. Yeah, and we are not talking about the measurable or quantifiable or whatever. Okay. Yeah. Okay, next question. Which of the following is an example of a functional requirement? Whoa, okay. How many questions I have today? I create a lot. Okay, 70, 80, okay, that's fast. Yeah, nearly 90 people have answered. And then I'm gonna pause this question in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And by the way, congratulations to Christopher. You are still at the top. Well done. Let's see the poll results. Yep. Which of the following is an example of a functional requirement? The system should be able to process 100 transactions per second. The system should have a user-friendly interface. That's not the functional requirement. Compatible with multiple browsers. That's not functional requirement. That's how the system should do. Okay. The system should be able to generate reports in PDF format. This is actually the functional requirement, because it needs to generate the report in the PDF format, right? So that's the functional requirement. The system should be able to process 100 transactions per second. That's describe how the system should work. Is that right? It describes the non-functional requirement of the system. they have to process 100 transactions per second. That's about the performance of the system. But what the system should do, what kind of process, transaction process here should do, that should be the functional requirement, but it doesn't describe here. All right. So if I say that the system should be able to do the bank transfer transaction, that kind of thing, that's the functional requirement. But if I say the system should be able to process 100 transactions per second, that's the non-functional requirement. Okay. Make sense, everyone? Yep. So, and next question. That's a lot. Which of the following is an example of a non-functional requirement? The system should be able to handle 1,000 concurrent users. The system should be able to recover from failure within 5 minutes. The system should be able to process transactions in real time. The system should be able to generate reports in less than 10 seconds. Oh, my goodness, this question is a gray area for this one. Okay. Yep, 87 people have answered. I will pause this question in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I don't know. Let's see. Okay. I would say that this question is very tricky. The choice is not really clear. What I have in the quiz here, the choice is actually C. Okay. The system should be able to process transactions in real time because it tells you the, what is that? How the system should perform, okay? That kind of thing. It should be processed in real time. But when we say real time, it is still vague anyway, because it's not quantifiable how real time is real time. So the other three is actually more concrete, but they are also part of the, I would say, non-functional requirement as well. So I would say that I'm gonna skip this question. Okay, the choice is not really clear. Yep, sorry about that. Yeah. Okay, probably the last question. Yep. Which of the following is a characteristics of both functional and non-functional requirements? Once I finish this question, and then I'm gonna go back to the lecture. Okay. All right, I'm gonna pause the quiz. This question in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Yep. Pause. Let's see the results. What do you think so far? Okay. So one of you, a few of you said that the characteristics of both functional and non-functional requirements should be about the performance and the reliability. Okay. What about the user interface? They are measurable and quantifiable, or they are concerned with the system behavior. Okay. The choice in my quiz, the correct answer in my quiz here is actually D-Dog. We are talking about the system behavior, why they are not the performance and the reliability. Okay. Performance is more about only non-functional, not both of them. Okay. Same to the reliability as well. They are only non-functional. Okay. User interface, clearly they are non-functional. Measurable and quantifiable, nah, unclear here. They are concerned with the system behavior, so both of the functional and the non-functional should be concerned with the system behavior. Okay, all right, all right. Thank you, everyone. Okay. Okay. Now I'm gonna move on to the back to the lecture here. Okay, it's 11 past 11 now. Huh. Okay, so requirement gathering techniques. Okay, I'm gonna do a quick one. Yeah, basically the gathering technique or elicitation technique, right? It is the system or the process. I mean, no, sorry. The purpose of the gathering technique is to identify what the requirement is, and there are different approaches. Okay, for example, interviews, questionnaires, existing, or it could be based on the existing documentation as well. We can run a workshop together with clients. We can interview or questionnaire with the domain expert, talk to the domain expert. You can do the direct observation. You can ride the truck to get to know the business as well, or you can do the prototyping. Okay, and I'm gonna go through one by one here. Interview. Okay, interview. Basically, interview. We just yeah, we want. I think the slide is a little bit different. It's not in the right order. I should start with this one. Okay. Yeah, interview. There are two types of the interview: closed end and the open end questions. Right. When we interview, we need to have the question first. Okay. And when we have the closed end, it means that you require specific answer like yes, no, choice A, B, C, D. That's a closed end. But open end means you ask the interviewee to describe or explain anything. That's the open question, right? Okay. And there are two types of the interviews as well. One is the structured interview. That means you have already specified the pre-planned questions. These are the questions that you are going to ask. It can be closed-end, it can be open-end as well. It really depends. Okay. For the unstructured interviews, the questions are posed in response to the answers received, frequently open-end. That means unstructured, you can ask anything. For example, you start with the you just keep asking, right? Yeah, like and the challenge is that different interviewees, they may get different questions. That the challenge. However, actually, I should mention that there is another type of the interview as well. It's called semi-structured interview. That means you can come up with the preset of the questions, right? You plan, these are the sets of the questions that you are going to ask. This is the guide. Once you ask at the same time during the interview, you can ask other questions as well. That's called semi-structured interview because it is mixed between structure and the unstructured. It's not really unstructured, it's not really structured, but it is something in the middle. All right. That's the two types of the interviews. And the purpose of the interview is to describe the business mission, to determine how success is measured, and be aware of the value chain as well. And when you interview, don't forget the IT department. For example, if you want to develop the system, you want this, you want that. The customer want this. If you don't talk to the IT department, you may not know, okay, what is the existing database system that they use at the moment? It can be Oracle, it can be MySQL, it can be Microsoft, that kind of thing. Or is that like a NoSQL database, right? So when you analyze the requirement, you should capture the constraint, the requirement from everyone as much as possible. Okay. That's the purpose of the interview. But the interview, there's a pros and cons as well. The first thing is that you can get the first-hand impression of the business requirement, right? You can create the good relationship, good connection with the clients. You get high response rate because you ask them directly, okay? And everything can be recorded. However, when you do the interview, you can only cover only a few numbers of people, only a relevant people, because one interview is really time consuming and you need to be with the interviewee, right? You need to be with them. let's say one interview, it takes like 30 minutes. One day you can interview only a few people, right? But that means the response that you get may not be large enough. So yeah, it's really so that's the downsides of the interview. Okay. Yeah. All right. Now, next is the questionnaire. Questionnaire is like a survey. It can be an online survey via the Google Docs or via the Qualtrics as well. It can be paper-based. It can be email as well. And the advantage of the questionnaire is that you can cover a wide range of people. For example, think about the YouTube, okay? When you watch some videos, YouTube also run some survey with you as well. These are the questions. Can you help us participate in this question and say strongly agree, blah, 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 and then next question, that kind of thing, you know? So this kind of questionnaire, they can access to millions of people, but you may get low response rate, right? Because when you reach million people, it doesn't mean that you will get million response. You may get, let's say, only 1,000 or 200, that kind of thing. Okay. So the downside of the questionnaire is that not many people are willing to respond, right? And some questions may not be well understood as well because it is only one-way communication channel. Okay. The person who react to the questionnaire, they can just only read the question. If they are unclear, they cannot contact you or anyway. Yeah. Questions must be carefully prepared to be effective. This is the key point. Sometimes once you draft the questionnaire, you can run a pilot study as well. You can check with a few numbers of people, let's say 2 or 3, to see whether they can complete within the plan or not, right? Let's say 10 minutes. Let's say in the description of the questionnaire, you say the participants should complete the questionnaire within 10 or 15 minutes. And then if it takes longer, then you may consider reducing or removing some of the questions as well. You can gather the requirement based on the existing document. Okay. Let's say if this is what is that, like a existing application or whatever, you can gather the requirement based on this one, right? And there are different types of the requirement. Different types of the documents. For example, forms, reports, screenshot, workflow, and strategy document. Let's say if Monash would like to develop an app based on an app for what? For the SpecCon, right? For the SpecCon, they may not need to talk to the student at all because they just want to look at the SpecCon policy. That's the existing document within the Monash University, right? So that this is an example, right? Yep, you can run the workshop as well. Okay, workshop, you try to bring everyone together. It's kind of like a meeting. Okay, bring everyone together into the room, facilitate the discussion, to manage the goal of the meeting together. This is what we want to get. Can you think about what are the features of the app should be? One person raise a hand, express some opinion or whatsoever. Okay, that's a workshop. They can run the workshop. Okay, yeah, and it can be run like in person or the Zoom as well. It really depends. Direct observation. The goal here is that you should not just rely on the interviews or the workshop, right, to understand the business process. Sometimes you need to get your hands dirty, look into the process, directly observe what is happening in real world, right? So this is an example. Let's say, and what is that? Let's say like this one, right? Senior, what is this figure? Like when the senior programmer, they want to do something, do some work, okay? You may want to ask like the stakeholder who are involved in the team, in the development team, to see what is happening in real world. Like let's say this one, they want to dig something using a driller or drill hammer, that kind of thing, impact hammer. Then you want to ask everyone to observe, right? How do they actually create the hole, do the construction together, that kind of thing. Okay, that's the direct observation. That's one of the technique as well. And last but not least, it is the prototyping, right? So prototyping is kind of like follow the Agile manifesto. We focus on the rapid development. We focus on the working prototype rather than heavy or exhaustive documentation. And when we do the prototype, it is about the user interface. When we say when we write the software requirement specification SRS, it is really document heavy. Sometimes the clients don't know how the app should look like. I feel that with this modern age, right? Let's say if you are a startup company, you work in an agile process, and when the requirements are unclear, prototype is one way to help you elicit better requirement as well. This is a draft, the initial version. Go back to the customer and discuss with them. Hey, is this something that you want? This is the flow that it should be. Is this something that you like? Is there anything else that you want to add? That kind of thing. Okay. So prototype is a good one. But there are 10 problems. These are the 10 problems of with the requirement elicitation, right? First, normally the boundary of the system is ill-defined. This is an example. Hey, I want to develop like some kind of like a fitness app tracker. Okay. The client want this A, B, C, D, E, F, G, blah, 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 blah. And then, okay, but we want to deliver within the next 6 months. Do you think that we can complete everything? Probably no. So you need to define the scope, define the boundary. When we elicit the requirement, you get 100, but what you can actually deliver, maybe only 10% of them or not. I don't know. That's why we need to communicate, work closely with the clients and prioritize the requirement really well. Okay. Second, unnecessary design information may be given. Yeah, when we talk to the clients, they may say, oh yeah, but you know what, I want this feature, but at the same time I want the database to be like this. So sometimes it is really unstructured, it's not clear. They are the clients who don't know what is our language, right? What are we talking, and that kind of thing. So sometimes you may get an unnecessary information. That's why you need to make sure that the communication is directed towards the scope or the goal. This is what I want to get. You need to know what you want to know. That's why you elicit the requirement. It's not just like, yeah, ask any questions, right? Stakeholder normally have incomplete understanding of their need. Yeah, you know, when we say, hey, I want to develop a fitness app tracking, right, to help me exercise better, that kind of thing. And then one day developer come back to the client, hey, you know what, to develop such kind of app, we need to connect with the wearable device, Apple Watch, whatsoever, right, to keep track, that kind of thing. It's not just like a mobile application. So the scope will be getting more complex, or it will be more difficult to implement as well. This is an example. It is incomplete at the beginning. The clients are not aware that it has to be integrated with the wearable device. Yeah. Stakeholders have poor understanding of computer capabilities and limitations. Okay, as a developer, we want to develop a mobile app. Maybe we just say, hey, we want a cross-platform. We need to use React Native, JavaScript. We need to use this. We need to use that. We need to use that database technologies. They have no idea probably. Okay, so we need to communicate in a better way, avoid the jargon, avoid the technical terms as well. Software engineers often have poor knowledge of the problem domain. Yeah, as a software engineer, we just talk about the programming, and then what is the problem domain? Think about the Solar as an example. If no one installed the Solar before, so probably you have no idea how the Solar works. That's why the first step is that you need to get to know the problem domain really well. Okay. Stakeholder and software engineers speak different language. Yeah, obvious information is omitted. Different stakeholders have conflicting views. Yeah, sometimes they are the stakeholder. We have two clients. One client want this, another client want that. You know, so it really depends, and then we need to resolve this kind of problem really well. Okay, requirements are often vague, untestable, such as user-friendly and robust. Okay, are they really testable? Are they clear? What does it mean by user-friendly? What is the definitions of the user-friendly? What is the definitions of the robust? Yeah. So, and finally, requirements are volatile and often change over time, right? Okay. In the past, this is in the past, normally we need to write the requirement specification, and it is the document heavy. This is an examples of the structure. When we want to implement some app, we may need to identify what is the purpose of the app, what is the business purpose, what is the goal, what is the vision, what do we want to achieve, what is the intent goal, what is the intent audience who are going to use the app, what is the scope, what is the product features, or that kind of thing. That's really that's really document heavy, okay? And the good characteristics of the requirement specification, okay? These are the checklists that you need to ensure that it is included. The first thing is that the correctness of the SRS, it should be checked. You want to ensure that everything in the document is correct. It is not ambiguous, that kind of thing. It is complete, it is consistent, and you should verify, test, and everything, okay? Yeah, but in this unit, we will not heavily use the SRS. We're gonna do it lightweight. But for yourself, let's say in the team, once you come up with the requirement from the client, you form the team, right? You may need to define what are the features that you are going to develop, that kind of thing. So you should have some just enough documentation in, but it doesn't mean that when you work in HI, you should not document anything. How can we develop an application without the requirement? Right? That's impossible. Okay, the last 30 minutes. I'm gonna talk about the usability design principles. Okay, how can we design the software in a better way? Okay, in a more user-friendly interface. Okay, the lecture slide does not contain the SIS slide. Yep, I will update in the next after the lecture. Yeah. Okay, we talked about the prototype before. All right, and prototype is just a mock-up, an example of the product in just order to test with the client, but it's not real. Nothing is real. Okay, that's a prototype. Prototype could be the screen or wireframe. It can be paper-based. It can be wireframe. It can be visual design, or you can code it as well. Yeah, develop it. Yeah, and there are two principles that we highly recommend you to follow. The first one is the Donald Norman design principle. The next one is the Ben Schneiderman 8 golden rules. Okay, we'll start with the Donald Norman design principle. There are 6 principles that you need to follow. The first one is the visibility, affordance, constraint, cognitive edge, transfer effect, and natural mapping. What does it mean? Visibility, it means that relevant objects should be in view and obvious to recognize. Okay, this is a UI, right? And you want the end users to install the app as much as possible. So that's why if the installation is the key goal of this UI, so it should be obvious to recognize. What if the install is just a text, it's not a button, right? So probably it's not a good design. It's not really visible to the end users. Make sense? Think about the app store. You want the end users to just download the app, install, purchase the app. So that's why they put the install or get button as a button rather than just a text. Yeah. So that's a visibility. Affordance talk about the appearance of an object. Okay, it should be indicate how it should be used. Okay, so that means when you hover the button like this and it changed the color. Okay, a button that changed color when hover it to suggest that it can be clicked. This is an example. Okay, it is affordant. An icon of a trash can that suggests that it can be used to delete files or content. Okay, yeah, so we use the trash can as an icon instead of the others to ensure that this is like for throwing away, to delete the files. A toggle switch that suggests that it can be used to turn something on or off. Yeah, we use the toggle switch to indicate that it can be on or off. Yeah, we don't use the other thing. All right. Constraint. We should limit the possible actions of an object to prevent users making errors as much as possible. If we don't have this this pop-up dialog right here, right, it shows you password must have at least one lowercase character, blah blah blah. If it doesn't have any guide How long does it take that a person will be able to set the password here? Probably like a day, because they don't know the guide. But now we want to limit the possible actions as much as possible. That's why they present the guide, how the password should be, right? And then it tells the end user whether it meets the criteria or not, okay? Yeah, that's a constraint. We should present the constraint, okay? Cognitive aids and feedback. What does it mean here? External representation intend to gain our attention, right? So when someone call you, give you a missed call, right? So this is like a cognitive aid. It actually tells you who call you, who give you a missed call. And here it is a Tim Cook. And we can react to this event as well by send a message or call back. This is a cognitive aid. If there is no button here, what does it mean? We need to unlock the screen, click the phone button, and type or find who give us a missed call, and then click. So how many interaction, how many press that we need to do, right? So that's a lot. So that's why we try to provide the cognitive aids as much as possible. All right. Consistency or the transfer effect, right? Software evolve over time, operating system evolve over time. We start from Windows whatever XP, Windows 8, and now Windows 10 already. So it is still similar, right? We use the letter icon to indicate the mail, use the calendar. Everything is obvious. Everything is consistency. Then it is easy to use. If everything changed, then the end users have to start learning everything from scratch again. Last one, yeah, natural mapping, right? So we talk about the, let's say, what is that, the screen brightness. They use the sun to indicate the screen brightness because they are relevant. It is mapping by natural. It is natural understanding, right? We use the speaker as an icon to represent the volume, whether we want to increase or decrease. We use the, what is that, like a kind of seat adjustment here. Yeah. So to adjust the seat. Yeah. That's the natural mapping. Okay. Yeah, I'm aware of the time. Maybe I will skip the video, this one, but I'm gonna move to the Ben Schneiderman golden rules. All right, these are the 8 golden rules. We need to strive for consistency. The UI within the app should be consistent throughout the app. We should cater to universal usability for a range of users. We should design the UI to serve the diverse of users, different age, right? Whether they have disability or not. Think about this. I develop an application, but the text is really small. Do you think that the elderly people will use the app or not? Probably no, because the text is too small. We are not design the app to accommodate the elderly people, right? And what about the disability? What about the color scheme within the application? If we use the scheme that it doesn't serve, it doesn't suit the how can I say, color blind people, so they cannot use it. Everything is plain, everything is in the same color, that kind of thing. So it doesn't suit the disabled people, right? So we need to keep this principle in mind, keep this golden rule. Okay. Next, we should offer informative feedback as much as possible, right? Give user feedback on their actions. Green, okay, if everything is passed, think about the user password, that one, password setting, that one, right? When it passed the criteria, then it becomes green. Tick, sound, highlighting, that kind of thing, that's the informative feedback. Design dialogues to yield closure, okay? So we should provide feedback or warnings at the end of the action. We should prevent errors as much as possible. So the system should detect errors, let the user undo that mistake. Think about, we want to do the online shopping. And the system allow the user to type the product that they want. And what the product should do, what the app should do is that the app should say that whether the product is valid or not. Is it available in the catalog or not? Rather than let the system throw the error. Hey, look, the product is not found, or like just error. Yeah. So we should handle that kind of error really well. Permit easy reversals of action. Yeah, when we use the web browser, we just yeah, click, browse, but we can also go back as well. And when we buy something, we can change the action as well by change of mind or unsubscribe the mailing list or whatever. It should support the internal locus of control. It should give the user a sense of control, let the user initiate and control actions, right? It should reduce the short-term memory load. Don't make navigation and tasks excessively complex. We should use meaningful mnemonics, icons, and abbreviations or hint, okay? These are the 8 golden rules. I'm gonna take a break by open this video. Yep.
Have you ever stumbled upon a website or a mobile app that looks awesome and feels so effortless to use? And surely you have come across, let's say, some bad ones. If you're like most users today, chances are you can easily tell a good design from a bad one. So this brings the question, what makes a good design? American computer scientist and professor Ben Schneiderman proposed a model called the 8 Golden Rules of Interface Design to define the fundamentals for a good user interface. So in this video, we're going to go through these 8 golden rules that are considered a cornerstone for good UI. Number 1. Strive for consistency. Consistency in UI design is making sure that the design elements look and behave the same while performing similar actions. Consistent UI design can give users a sense of control, familiarity, and reliability. Number 2. Enable frequent users to use shortcuts. Having shortcuts is very helpful for advanced users. This helps navigate the UI quickly and more effortlessly in the long run. Number 3. Offer informative feedback. Informative feedback is essential to make sure users know what is going on. While designing a UI, it must be clear as to what the response of the system is and what response the users expect. Number 4. Design dialogues to yield closure. Users should not be kept guessing if a task is completed or not. Uncertainty elicits negative responses from the users. A simple message or a dialog box can help users understand the consequences of their actions. Number 5. Offer simple error handling. Errors are bound to happen while using a product. They are annoying to encounter and fixing them can be a greater pain. Making sure that simple errors can be handled as painlessly as possible leads to positive user experience. Number 6. Permit easy reversal of actions. Users may require flexibility in their action or need to correct any simple mistakes. Hence, the system must ensure that user actions are easily reversible. Number 7. Support internal locus of control. The idea is that the system should give users some degree of control. Control gives them a sense of familiarity and ease. It's essential to earn their trust as the system design behaves as expected. Finally, number 8. Reduce short-term memory load. As humans, we can only remember so much that we deem to be important. Hence, the system must prioritize focus on recognition over recall.
All right, thank you. Okay.
Have you ever
Next. Yep. So we are going to go back to the flux quiz again. All right. 1 second. Here we go. Okay, everyone, are you ready? Okay, the question, which of the following is not one of the Don Norman design principles? 63 people have answered. Which one is not? Visibility, feedback, affordance, consistency. Yes, okay. I'm gonna pause this question in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's see the results. Yep. So let's check with the slide. Okay, yep. This is the Donald Norman design principles, right? Which one is not? Visibility is one of them. The first one, clearly it is yes. Okay. Affordance is the second design principle. It is yes again. Okay. Consistency. Yep, consistency. Let me think. Yeah, either consistency or the feedback. Oh my goodness. Okay. Probably both of them. Yeah, they are not in the design principles. The choice is confusing again. I'm so sorry. Yeah. Okay. Yep. Probably let's move to the next question. Yeah. So in this case, the feedback and the consistency, they are not part of the Donald Norman principle, but I would say that, oh yeah, the consistency is here. So I think just only the feedback is also here. Oh my goodness. Okay. I'm so sorry. The question is unclear. All right. Maybe let's move to the next question. Yep. Start. Okay. According to Don Norman, what is the purpose of the visibility principle in design? Visibility, what does it mean? Yeah. Okay. I think visibility will be the first one. Okay, I'm gonna pause the quiz in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yes, let's see the result. Yeah, I think this one, the answer should be A. Pretty clear. We want to make sure that the object can be easily discoverable because we want to make it obvious, right? So, yeah, that's a choice A. That's a visibility. Okay. Next one. What does the affordance principle in design refer to? Affordance. That's the next design principle of the Donald Norman. What does the affordance principle in design refer to? The ability of an object to provide clear feedback. The relationship between an object appearance and its function. The ability of an object to be easily understood and used. The ability of an object to be easily discovered. Yep, so I'm gonna pause the quiz in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's see the poll results. And the answer here, what does the affordance principle in design refer to? The majority of the answer is the ability of an object to be easily understood and used. Okay, let's check this one, right? Affordance, by the definition, it means the appearance of an object should indicate how it should be used. Yeah, so I think the answer should be C because it should describe the ability how it should be easily used and understood, right? So that's the affordance. All right. Okay, I think that's all for the quiz today. But let's see the leaderboard. All right. Who is the winner? Congratulations to Christopher Collins, Dong Jeng Wu, Edward Furry, and I would say the rest of the class as well. I really appreciate for your active participation. Okay. Now I'm gonna open the floor to everyone to ask if you have any questions or not. And if not, so yeah, I will see you in the workshop session. Yeah, the apply session. Yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for your attention. Bye bye. Have a good day.